Hey, we're Bee and Theo, otherwise known as the Indie Projects.
And we're currently driving around the world in our self-converted Sprinter van.
We turned this empty panel van into a beautiful, completely off-grid home on wheels. Hello everyone and welcome to day one, the first day of our van build project. We're really excited to get started, and what we're going to do today is basically get the van ready for tomorrow. Today we're taking the ply down in the areas where we're getting windows fitted.
So yeah, the first thing is to take down these panels here. We're only going to take down the ones we need today, just because we are having a window fitted here, which is really cool, and it's going to be like a long thin window. It's not going to be like a normal big window in the back, because we just don't need that. We just need like a little vent that we can open and that we can see out. So yeah, it'd be good. We're also having a window in the sliding door as well, so get it all prepped, ready, so the guys tomorrow who fit it, they don't have to worry about anything.
Momentous occasion about to occur, people. We're about to expose the wheel arch. Hello there.
There we go.
Hello friend, welcome to the family. Bit
Dusty.
grubby, yeah. Bit dusty, but otherwise looking good.
What do I believe? What makes me feel it to write you this song?
So we've had a change of plan. We thought, let's just take all the panels off, seeing as we've taken off half of them anyway. So yeah, we're just taking them all off now because trigger happy.
5 months and a year. Oh, I loved you too long.
So what we are doing now is Bee's just clearing all the metal shards off the wood. Then we're going to move this ply out onto the floor so that we can get to this ply floor and remove it and see what's underneath. So we've been waiting for this for a couple of days, so it's pretty exciting.
The slow day, the calm, and the night will unfold. I never thought that I would be traveling this road. And people keeps missing, the clouds seem to fade.
So the next thing we're going to do this evening is remove the bulkhead. So as you can see, it's a big piece of metal, it's very heavy. You can see again it's these same Torx bolts, but I reckon they're going to come out just fine, so fingers crossed. Yes! Another one out, that's it, it's all out.
Let's get the bulkhead out. So as you can see behind me, there is now no more bulkhead. It's all free behind me, which is super excited. It really opens up the van, and it wasn't as hard as we thought it would be, so yeah, really happy about that.
So Bee's just going around with the wire brush and just touching up any little bits that could be rustable.
So we're now preparing the van for the rust prevention. So any areas where we've had to remove the bolts, there's like flaky paint, exposed metal. I've been going around those areas with some wire wool. It works really effectively at just getting rid of any loose paint. As you can see here, there's some residue. You should wear gloves with wire wool. It really hurts when it stabs you. So all these areas here where we had to get the Torx screws out, we will be scrubbing down. We don't seem to have any really extreme areas of rust, which I know some vans do have. So we're about to get started on rust prevention in the van. It is raining, that's like that funny noises that you can hear in the background, but the great thing about being in a barn means that we can work whatever the weather, come rain or shine, so let's get going.
We get your soul.
So whilst I've been scouring the floor, getting off the chip paintwork and stuff, Theo's removing this little bit here, which is surprisingly grubby underneath. Check it out. So we will need to give this a thorough clean. First we'll give it a hoover, then we'll give it a wipe down, and then any exposed metal we will treat.
So you can probably see behind me, the van is now completely clean. Bee just hoovered it, and now it's ready for a lick of red oxide. Takes about 16 hours to dry, so we can come back tomorrow and start to repaint another layer of something else over the top of it. I'm actually really liking how the colour of the red primer looks. I'm thinking we should just paint the whole van in primer.
Hunting alone, traveling from the deep forest into the sun.
So every single tiny weeny piece of exposed metal has been covered up. Walls, floor and ceiling. So let me just reiterate, this doesn't mean that all these areas had rust. There was no rust on any of these patches. It was literally just little bits of where metal was exposed. So you paint this over it to protect it from rust in the future. Because this is all obviously going to be covered, we're never going to see it. It's also going to be, in theory, completely vapor barriered anyway, so it should never have an issue. And Theo's just finishing up at the end there. Looks like a murder scene. This is the red oxide primer that we used. I got it from Screwfix. It's called a no nonsense one. Absolutely massive tub. We probably could have just painted the whole of the floor with it if we'd wanted to, but instead we just thought we'd go on the patches, so we leave that to dry now. Can't paint over it for about 16 hours, but it's already getting tacky, so in theory we should be able to walk around it and stuff today so we can do our other things. So excusing the socks and sandals, very comfortable. This is the Dodo dead mat that we're going to be using to sound deaden all of the van with. I went for the 4.66 metre length with a width of 75 centimetres, so fingers crossed this is more than enough. I'm going to unroll it now and cut the pieces to size.
So Bee's just measuring up all of the areas where we're going to be putting the sound deadening material. And you've got to be super careful not to overuse it really, because it's super expensive stuff. And it should be pretty straightforward really, because there's lots of mirrored areas. So obviously here, here and here is going to be the same pretty much the other side of the van. So it won't be too difficult to cut loads of pieces in one go, hopefully.
If I could see you again, I don't know where to start.
Just thought as well, for anyone that's watching, it is possible to buy these in ready cut like sections but we just wanted to be able to cut them exactly to size from a roll. It does work out cheaper doing it that way as well, but if you don't want to spend, I don't know how long it's been, probably like half an hour cutting, then you can just buy them ready-made cut.
One of the things you want to make sure with this stuff is that the temperature is right, because if it's too cold it won't stick properly. I think it has to be above 10 degrees. And right now it's been really cold, but today the sun has come out, so now we can get on with this. It's probably about 15 degrees today, so that's perfect. So I'm just going to peel off halfway down, stick it on as straight as I can, as I'm a perfectionist. It's working nicely.
I've tried to fix every wound with this lone heart. I'd see that siren smile while I'd find a way to breathe. But the way that your eyes shatter mine, I will be defeated.
It's pretty awkward doing this above your head, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. So now we've installed all of the sound deadening, the next step is to insulate. So we're using two different types of insulation. This is called Superloft. It's recycled plastic. It's non-fibrous. You don't have to wear gloves or a mask or anything to use it. It's not itchy, which is one of the reasons why we went for it. We just didn't like the idea of tiny little glass particles from the recycled ones that you can get going in our faces, like we've heard happen to some of our friends. So we've just unrolled all, well, just this is one small roll that I've unrolled, just to allow it to kind of expand a little bit. And in the meantime, I'm going to measure the gaps where it's going, top and bottom, and cut it to size so it can slot in very nicely.
But if I'd go back, I could turn away. But if I leave it...
Guys, I can't tell you how excited I am about the installation process. I've been waiting for this moment for a good couple of days. We thought it was going to happen sooner, but it's just one of them things. We wanted to be bulletproof with everything that we do, so we're taking slightly longer than we thought we would. But soon the van is going to start taking shape and we can really crack on with all the fun parts.
I'll see you again, but I don't know where I start. You're so hard to detach, though I know I should let go. I would undo it all in a second if I could.
So for our wall insulation, we've gone for a Celotex 50mm deep insulation material. It is a hard material, it has no flexibility to it at all. So what I've done is created a template. Now this is for the first panel. The first template I've made is for this panel here. It's the biggest one so far, so let's see how it fits. Basically, I've cut it out, measured it to size, and I'm going to now trace it, cut it, and carve it. So we have cut all of the Celotex to size. It was a massively arduous task, especially because the wall panels are actually at a slight slant. So we had to make sure, as you can see here, that we cut the insulation to fit in nice and flush. So that's something that we've been dealing with. We've now cut them all, so we've got one for here, one for there, one for there, one for there, and one for here. Now the one for here is an awkward one because obviously we've got this window here, but we wanted to have it surrounded by Celotex. So I've kind of made a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. They do all fit around it. So yeah, we're going to also be Celotexing up there. It's going to look absolutely mental, but it will work. So let's get sticking.
But now that I know you're here, I just can't surrender. I just can't surrender.
So we're almost at the end of the arduous task of putting the Celotex in the wall cavities. Theo's just trimming up the last piece that's going to be going above the window there. We wanted to use as much Celotex as we could because it is the best.
The spray foam's gone on nicely. We just need to trim it all off. And all is going good, so it's going to be another night shift. We finished 3 AM last night.
Yes, and today also we're going to be just quickly insulating the headliner as well. I'll just be spraying some adhesive onto the back of this fluffy stuff and just wedging it on there. Okay, so all the Celotex is down on the floor and it's all been nicely sealed in with the aluminium tape. So that is now one big continuous vapor barrier. There are areas over here, you can't really see it too well on the camera, where the top layer of the Celotex got peeled off. So that will need to be covered with the aluminium tape as well. But yeah, it's all nice and flush, all looking great. And now we just need to silver foil the headliner, then we can put the cover back on, and then we're just gonna temporarily put a large ply sheet on here. Also just put the headliner back in. That was actually really flipping difficult. As you can see behind it, we have vapor barriered it as well because we did insulate it. So that's all on. Never want to take that off again, but I think we might have to access some of the wires. And I've shut the back doors now, but we're nearly there.
It goes round and round in circles, but I'm still on the ground.
So Bee is doing an absolute marvellous job of cleaning off all of the underneath the trimming, and it's looking great. The van's never looked so clean, and it looked pretty clean when we brought it. But look at that, it's just completely clean, clear of anything. And this is such an important part of the process because you want to make sure that there's not any problems for later on.
Or just sit beside me and never leave.
So the van is all dried, these are all clean and dry, and now it's time to silicone up. I've got this silly rub, neutral curing silicone to use, so let's give it a go.
And that stuff doesn't rust.
Yeah, basically people had said that you need one that doesn't have vinegar in because it can apparently cause rusting, so that's why we're using this.
And these are the holes that they will be going in. Tiny little holes. Well, actually they're quite big holes
They are quite
for in
big.
the side of your van. But they're just known to leak, and you can see where it's leaked on the inside, and that happens to like every Sprinter. So it's best to
And crafter.
make sure that they're completely sealed. And Bee's ready for business.
So that's perfect, we can see the sealant has come out. So it's all underneath and it's all nicely barriered around the edge, so that should hopefully work. So it's taken about an hour, but we've done the entire perimeter of the van. Looks very, very neat. So when we took out the original floor, we did actually keep hold of it, which was really useful for cutting out the template of our new floor. So it was in two halves. You can't see both, but this is number one, the other one's behind it. And it was really handy for getting around the wheel arches because they're a bit awkward, and it fits perfectly now. So from this angle you can see we've got the floor in. We're going to be trying something with our step, which is why it's overhanging a little bit. But you'll have to wait and see what goes with that. And I've already taken the back piece out for varnishing. And what are you up to, Theo?
I'm going to be making some wheel arch boxes. The ones we've already got are very grubby, a bit rotten. So I'm going to make some fresh ones so they last a lot longer.
And I don't know if you guys have spotted this weird artwork we've got going on the Reflectix. It's basically just so we can see where the points for drilling our beams in, battens, is going to go. So here's the floor laid out on top of the lino. I wanted to just make sure that it 100% fit first. And now what I've decided, rather than drawing on the actual grey top of the lino, I'm going to flip the lino around, put these back on, and then trace around the floor, and then I can cut it out.
We need more than hopes and wishes for us to make it through the night. Stormy weather, weary eyes, hope to make it through the night.
The moment has come to put that in that. Let's go.
All this time you thought we'd never pay the price. In the game of love you have to roll the dice.
Hey presto, the floor is down. Looks very, very clinical. But I'm proud of what we've done. Oh, hello. Didn't see you there.
Admiring the work.
Admiring the work. Looks super good.
So down here we have all of our tongue and groove wood and our battens that we've been using in the van. This particular tongue and groove is 8mm spruce, and we have our battens there which are 18mm by 34mm. So they're brilliant because they bend to the shape of the van. The only problem with this stuff is it is super thin, so it can be a little bit of a problem because it breaks very easily. So you have to assess every little piece of wood before you put it on, because you don't want it to be broken. So these are actually all broken pieces that we need to take back.
So before we finish putting the rest of the battens up, we've put in the frame for the window. It's almost finished now. We're just about to secure it in place. It's nice and level. So once these are secured, we'll then put the top bracket on, secure that, and we can carry on with the rest of the battens before cladding. So now that our battens are in place, it's time to finally put the cladding up. And I just want to show you a little tip that we've picked up from our van build. So as you all know, our van was a panel van before we converted it, or began the conversion. And she came lined with ply walls, which we did keep, which has been very, very handy. So for us, we can use this ply as a perfect template to get the cladding cut perfectly to the wheel arch, and to go around all these bits along the side of the wall, and to also get the cladding nicely curved along the side there, because this is going to be our bedroom area. We want it to be nice and neat. So yeah, we're going to basically line up, just making sure that that fit. We just had to trim off 34mm from the bottom, because obviously now the floor's being put in, the ply didn't fit in as perfectly, but now it fits nicely and we can use it as a template for the cladding.
So we finished this last night, but we couldn't show you because it was pitch black and we wanted to show you it in the beautiful sunshine. But how good does that look? I mean, around here, I'm so happy with it. It looks so good around the window. And this morning, I've just started adding in these little touches. These are what make it for us, these little details, hiding any little kind of wonks that there might be. Not that there was many, but to cut that edge was really difficult, so that just hides that and looks really nice. And now we are just working on this surround, so we put a piece of edging up here, along here, and down here, so it frames it off really, really nicely. And we got such a nice little shelf there to put a drink on, put your phone on when you're sleeping.
Okay guys, so here is the frame of our bed. It's 6 foot long and the entire width of the van. We're not having the bed the entire width, the platform is going to be the entire width. So right now we're just putting on these little blocks to protect this from the wall, and then we're going to be putting a mid beam in, and then an edge beam, and then, because we've already tested it and it does fit perfectly in here, we will then be putting it in there and attaching it to the legs that we've got. It's time to get drilling. Okay, so here is the bed frame in. Okay guys, so now that the bed is in and secure, it means that we can now work on putting the bench in. And actually last night we built the bench, one part of it anyway. Let me show you. So here is Theo and his masterpiece. This is the bench. Nice knee pads going on there, mate.
Thank you.
Looking fire. So this is the bench. Do you want to explain it to them?
Yeah, so L-shaped bench. We've done it in 2 parts. So we've got this straight bit, that straight bit, then we're going to join them inside the van. And what it's going to have is, we've got a gap here, we're going to have some runners, and our toilet's going to slide out here. We're going to have a cap flap here, and Ginjey's litter tray is going to be there. So both of our toilets together. Hopefully not too many smells going on. And then this is all going to be storage, all going to be storage there. We're going to have lift up 12mm ply for the top surface that we can lift up, access anything we need to. Same for here, and that should make it really nice and secure. And I've been pocket holing every single joint, so it's super secure and it looks really nice as well. Show them how the pocket joins are looking.
So here we have an example of pocket hole joinery. It just creates a really nice smooth finish and also a very strong join, which is what you want for a seat. Okay guys, so we actually grabbed some upholstery, some comfortable cushions for our sofa. Check it out. These are from a caravan. We got them off eBay. We got them the other day and they're incredibly comfortable and they fit perfectly. In fact, they're a little bit too big, so we're gonna have to trim them to length. But widthways, they create a very, very comfortable base for us to lounge on.
And don't worry, we will be getting them reupholstered.
Yeah,
They're not going to stay like that.
We're not keeping them with this theme. It does look exactly like the three-piece suite my nan and granddad used to have when I was a child. But we're going to get them reupholstered. We're thinking maybe a nice pale blue. That's one of our favourite colours. What do you guys think?
So obviously it's not complete with the cushions because these are just the size cushions we need to cut to size. But look at this. This is where our composting toilet's going to slide out just like that, which is super cool, and it's soft shutting. Oh, nice.
Every time.
Love it. And if Bee comes off the seat, we can demonstrate how it lifts up. So it's as easy as that. You can get under here to all of your things, and eventually we're going to get some really strong gas struts that are going to fit there, so when we lift this up it will stay in place. So we're super stoked. And also this one does the same as well. This lifts up and there we go. We can get underneath, get all of our things out very easily, and it will generally just make this a really nice place to hang out.
Comfy.
First thing we've got is the most important for a separator toilet, and it is the actual separator. And as you can see down there, it's got a filter, so it filters out any of the sawdust so the tube to the urine divider doesn't get blocked up. And then we've got the number 2 bucket. So some people just bag it and bin it. We'll probably do that. Other people will actually let this compost down. We've got a small 3.3 litre urine container, so we're going to see how that goes. We will get a bigger one eventually, but this is all we could get our hands on for now. And then we have our toilet seat. So yeah, pretty simple, but now it's time to build the actual box. So here it is, just pull it out from under the chair, super easy access, and it's ready to use once it's lifted out of its tray. So we are now in the land of mattresses, figuring out which mattress is the one that we want to get. You managed to locate it?
Yes, I'm just making sure it's the right firmness. There you go.
It was the firm one, yeah.
Firming.
And we drove the van all the way to IKEA for it to be rolled up. We could have bought the car. Heavy.
26 kilos.
You take the camera.
Yeah, so it's the double, it's firm, 135, there we go. Watch the muscle man. It's like the I'm so excited.
Me too. So we just put our IKEA slats back on the bed, which is exciting. It kind of transforms it from a wooden frame into a bed. And the reason we went for slats is because we're going to have heating in the garage area, which is going to heat the garage area, but also heat the mattress as well from the underneath. So we shouldn't get any mold or anything because it's able to breathe from these slats. There's lots of gaps, and also they give a little, so it'll be a bit more comfortable than just a solid plywood board. It's like past the parcel. Just keeps going. So that was definitely a two-person job, hence why we put the camera down. But look, Bee is lying on the bed. This is super exciting. We've been waiting for this moment for a long time coming.
This is comfy as hell and so spacious. I just can't wait now to build the side cupboard here. It's just, every day is my favourite phrase, but every time we put one more piece in the van, it really does bring it together and it feels like home. And this is our bed and it's so comfy. So this, we've already started to dismantle it. You can't see it in all its glory, but it's a very old cabinet that we want to include in the van build. And we're just trying to figure out how to make this work on the bulkhead because we love it. Love all the intricate details, so much character. Firstly, we've started to really bring our kitchen together. This is kind of a rough organisation of how it's going to look. So we've got here a lovely little fridge, isotherm, very good with power, that also has a little freezer in it, so that's great. I'm going to bring some parsnips over that hopefully I can freeze so they'll last for Christmas because I couldn't find any in Portugal last year. So we're going to have the fridge here, can hold a lot of stuff. It's the exact same size as the one we had in our T4, and then next to that it won't be this high, it will be higher up, but obviously this is just for spatial purposes. We've got our little oven. I'll put a link to this in the description because everyone wants to know where it's from. And it's beautiful. I am so excited about an oven. Look at that, an oven. It's got a little latch so it can't fly open. This all peels off, it's all silver. Check it out. So we started off with one solid piece and now it's split into two. Looks totally crazy at the moment.
Does it? I haven't had a look.
Yeah, it looks very odd. But when it's all together it'll look really nice. So we hopefully have a piece that's long enough that we can slot into here from the original. So we can, in fact, where is it? There we go.
This one?
Yeah, I'm hoping. My other way up. So if this is trimmed to size, that'll fit in nicely there. And then we've got a shelf running all the way along the bottom.
Nice.
And we had to make sure that we had enough room on this side because when the sliding door shuts, there's actually quite a chunky bit of rubber that sticks out. So if this was too far over, it would just get slammed to pieces and annihilated immediately. So that's why it's slightly further over and not right to the edge. And obviously we're mirroring that on the other side for symmetry. Okay, everyone, check it out. We've fully modded it and it looks totally mental. When it's painted, I assure you, it's gonna be epic. The vision we have for this piece. Right now it does look mad, but it looks so beautiful. We will be making it shorter. These legs won't be that long.
It's an Indie Projects original.
It is. It's an Indie Projects original, revamped, vintage thing.
Bee's done one coat and she's like, I think that it just needs one coat because, you know, we want it to look like farmhousey. And I'm like, you don't want to do another coat, do you?
No, I don't. I don't, but I also think it does look good with one coat. Put your phone on silent, how unprofessional. Anyway, so most of it is done, and how fire does that look? Honestly, this has turned out exactly how I wanted it to.
How amazing does that look? It's incredible. It looks just how we wanted it to. And now we're gonna finish off the cladding there and then we're going to stain it with the walnut stain, and oh, it's really, really looking nice.
This thing is, we're going to add at the top here little copper wiring, tubing actually. It's definitely not wire. Copper piping. That we are just.
Does that go with that colour as well?
Yes, I know. Very nice.
Everything's coming together.
Very nice. So yeah, it's looking lovely, and this little bar at the top really adds a nice touch to it. This is fantastic. So here's what we've done to the kitchen. We've painted the entire unit to match up with that. It's going to look beautiful together. And basically, this is where the fridge is going to go, so you're not going to see all the way to the back. I've only done one coat. It's not fully finished yet, but it's looking really nice. And oh, we've put the drawers in. They're not staying like that. We are going to sand these back and paint them too. So we've got 2 drawers that we're going to probably have to shorten, because the sink will be going there and it might get in the way, but that's fine. They look really nice, lots of storage space, all of that, way more than I thought we'd have. And oh, don't know if you've peeked, but we've got our water system as well. We're going to be fitting that soon. Let me show you what we've been doing in here. So here is what we've been doing these past few days. Tons of storage has suddenly emerged at the side of the bed, so we're not leaving it like this, don't worry. It looks, like I said, very basic right now. We've just basically done the main principle of it. We've got all of the support up, all of the shelves are in. Look how deep these are at the bottom. This is perfect for socks and pants. So all of our clothes and stuff are going to go in here. And what we're doing is, we're not having it go all the way to the top, so we're keeping it nice and open. And we're going to cover up all of the fronting with this really nice wood, just so it looks a little bit more substantial, and it will also act as a lip to hold stuff in. And then we're going to paint it the beautiful green colour, so it's going to look really nice. So now we're going to show you basically how we're going to do that today. Okay, so we've now added all of the frontaging to the shelf. We've put it in the van to check how it looks and make sure it all still fits perfectly fine, and it does. So I'm going to show you how it looks. So here we have it. It really has transformed it, making the front thicker. And now what we're going to be doing is putting a whole long piece along there and along the sides. And then I need to fill all of the screw holes in with wood filler, sand it down tomorrow and paint it tomorrow, because we need it to be fully dry. And we were going to put shelves there, but actually we're going to leave it for now because we're not 100% sure what we want to do with it.
When I was young, I thought control would lead me to an ending road, and heavy metal seemed to be the only thing that was for me. And I saw the angels coming down, and they sang a song and sang it loud.
So you saw in the time lapse that we painted it all. The next step is to add this beautiful copper bar. So Theo's just finalising that in.
Turned out really nicely.
It has.
Definitely matches the kitchen now, which is awesome.
And we found these in Homebase for £6. Really cute little baskets that'll be useful for putting stuff in. So should we put it in the van now and see how it looks?
Let's do it.
So here we have it in place. Loving the look. We've got the little drawers in there. They look really cute. So we've just arrived back from Bristol. It was a really smooth drive. It felt a lot faster getting back than getting there, I think, because we were just so excited to get the cushions in the van. We've put them in, and in fact we've put everything else in the van. So we've put the kitchen in, we've put the bedside cabinet in, and the cushions in, and it really has just brought the whole thing to life. Let me show you. So here we have them in situ. How lovely do they look?
They are amazing. They're so comfortable. So this came in the post yesterday, and this is our front runner, roof rack and universal roof tracks. We arrived at Snail Vans, and the first thing to do was to check we had all of the components needed to fit the rack. Holes were drilled in the universal tracks and then countersunk. The rubber seal for the universal tracks were then attached. The next step was to connect all of the feet to the roof rack as well as the wind deflector. After everything on the roof rack was in place, the universal tracks were lifted onto the roof and aligned with the holes. Sealant was added to the bolts and everything was tightened up. The van was then driven outside for a water test. We made sure that there was no leaks inside the van. Shortly after, we lifted the roof rack in 2 sections to make it easier and connected all of the feet to the universal track. So the roof rack is now completely fitted. We're super stoked with how it looks. It looks amazing. It's been turning heads already on the way back from Snail Van's workshop. Everyone's just like, whoa. So that's exactly what we wanted. You might be wondering, what floor have we gone for? And we have gone for the next revolution in waterproof floors, which is this stuff. It's a vinyl click flooring. We got it from Wix's, or is it Wix?
Wix's, same thing.
Who
It's got an
cares?
S at the end.
But we went there, we got this floor, it looked pretty good. It's not the lightest stuff in the world, but it's fully waterproof. And we didn't actually need much of it. 1 pack's gonna do us fine. We'll probably only even use half a pack.
It's also incredibly thin. This is why, because you might be asking, why have you not gone with the cork? It's so much thinner than the cork, and we needed the headspace for Theo.
Yeah, we realised that the headspace was going to be an issue when we clad the roof. Obviously, we don't have the cladding on just yet, but we did some measurements, and I don't want to be standing like that. I did that in the boat, and I don't want to do that in the van.
So as we got to the unit quite late, I'm cooking a pizza, and if anyone's worried about the flame, yes, I just dropped a load of cheese on it by accident, so it looks a bit mental, but it's normally not like that. But yeah, cooking pizza whilst we lay the floor, and check it out. We started
Looking
putting
good.
it in already. So we've trimmed some bits. Let me just show you guys the trimming. So Theo's got his food before me because, as some of you know, I'm celiac, so I can't eat normal pizza, which is sad. But
We don't have any plates, so Bee served the pizza to me on a piece of vinyl flooring. How hipster is that? Like, that is the next thing to be at your local pub.
the next step is to cut out on one of these pieces of wood a cat-shaped head for Ginjey's litter tray. Okay guys, so there's my template, and here's the outline of the cat face shape hole that Ginjey will be walking in and out of to do her business. There we have it. That looks amazing.
You know what? I can't wait to watch her the first time go through this.
She's
It's gonna
be
hilarious.
like, what have you done?
Just need sanding back. Obviously, that's the raw jigsawed out piece.
We need to make it nice and smooth for her furry body. Today we're doing a task that we have silently been dreading ever since we knew we were going to be converting a van, let alone when we got the van. So yes, today is the day that we drill copious amounts of holes in the roof of the van. Theo's just up there now behind me, there he is.
Hello.
Sorting out where he's going to position the glands. So right now, he's looking at the light bar one. Then we've also got the 4G booster to fit through the roof and also the solar panel. So today is going to be a rather nerve-wracking day, but once it's done, we're going to feel brilliant.
Okay guys, so we're now up on the roof next to the light bar. This is the first thing we're going to install. So I put it through the junction box, as you can see. This was white before, I painted it black so it blends in nicer. And then I've just marked out exactly where I'm going to put it. I'm going to drill a little pilot hole, and then I'm going to use my step drill bit to create the bigger hole, and then that's going to fit nice and neatly there. And then what I'm going to do is cable tie this wire to the side of the bracket for the light bar so that the wire doesn't flap about when we go off road and stuff. So what we have done is just added some hammerite to the edges, underside and the top as well, just to make sure it doesn't rust.
So, sorry we didn't film it, but it was a bit of a tricky process, but basically we've just siliconed with Sikaflex 512 around the gland, so it's now all nice and secure. We're going to leave it to dry. We've got 2 days before we've got to go anywhere, so that's more than enough time for this to set. So this is the Sikaflex we used, 512 caravan one. It's basically designed for use on outside. It's UV protected and all that sort of stuff, so it won't go nasty over the years. We were going to use another one, but we ran out of time, so we ended up getting this from a local caravan shop, and it's been great. As grey as Sikaflex can be. It smells quite fruity.
This is our final electrical setup in our garage area, and there's quite a lot going on, so I'm going to talk you through it. So first off, we have 2 times 100 amp hour lithium batteries from Sterling. Over here we have, I call it a shoreline, but I'm obviously not on a boat. We can plug in our generator to top up our batteries, or we can plug into mains power from a house or a campsite. And we chose to have it inside because hopefully we're never going to really need to use it, and we don't like how they look on the outside of the van. I've seen some people put them underneath the van, which is a clever idea, but we just didn't have time. So moving up, this is our mains power distribution. So this is what runs our 2-gang plug socket inside, and that runs into our Victron inverter charger, and this is the 12835. So this is a charger inverter all in one, which we thought was really cool. Down here we have a kill switch, and this will kill everything to the batteries. So if we need to do any maintenance, or we leave the van for a number of days or go away, we can isolate the batteries completely, which is very cool. And then obviously we've got all of our fuses. I won't go into what every single fuse leads to, but if you know, you know. We've got our shunt down there, that's for our Victron BMV, so battery display, battery monitor. We have our Victron MPPT 130, and that seems to be running well so far. Down here we have our 12 volt blade fuse box with all of our appliances and stuff going into there, and then we have a Sterling battery to battery charger, so when we drive, that tops up our batteries and controls the voltage going into the lithium batteries. In the far distance you can see our motorhome Wi-Fi 4G booster, so that's the other side of the booster that plugs in to the aerial on the roof, and that gives us really nice 4G signal. Definitely recommend that. And yeah, some other wires you can see down there, our diesel heater running into the system as well. So there's a fair amount going on. I don't think I've missed anything there, but it's very neat and tidy. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to put some sort of cover just to protect the batteries and some of the cables up here, so if I slide stuff into the garage area it's not going to get damaged, but I will do that at a later date. So here we are guys, this is the ceiling cladded with our beautiful lighting. How amazing does that look? And also when I was explaining the inverter plugs, these are our inverter plugs, so we only needed 2 because basically we just need to charge a few things and use Bee's laptop because she can't get a 12 volt charger for it. So that looks really nice. We've gone for this beautiful copper plated plugs, so we're super happy with how they turned out. And we've got our switches on the side here, so if I just flick these switches, that one turns on the one in the living room, and then this one turns on the one in the bedroom. And how cozy does that look We got nice warm LED lights. They draw hardly any power. And I just love how they look. Super excited with them. So if I just turn that one off, I can show you what style we went for. It's very like bulkhead style light. It really goes with the silver, the gold, the copper. We're kind of mixing all these different colours, but it works really, really nicely.
So on the outside of our van, we've actually added quite a few modifications, and the reason for that is we do a lot of off-road driving, but we also are planning to drive this van all the way around the world. So that's a little bit of an exclusive for you, so make sure you subscribe. One of the main questions we get asked is about this snorkel. It takes the cleaner air when you're driving off-road and takes that into the engine instead of taking all the dirty air from down low like you usually would. We've also added a light bar. Currently we're near the Arctic Circle, and in these sort of countries where it stays dark a lot of the time, or you're driving around at night, there can be moose in the road, there can be reindeer. So from a safety point of view, it's really good to have a light bar. It's also good at night when you're pulling up to a location, you're not really sure what's around you, you're wild camping. If you want to check out if it's a good spot or not, the light bar is really helpful for that as well. So one of the main things we had added to this vehicle is a lift kit. So we actually have 5 centimeters of extra lift, and it makes it a little bit tricky climbing in and out of the habitation area. But it means that when we're driving off-road, it's really good because we've got that extra clearance. So that's really important if we're going to be driving around the world. We also had these BF Goodrich all-terrain tyres. They're the KO2s, and they're 245 75 R16s. So coming around the back of the van, we've got this beautiful rear wheel carrier. This is made by a guy called Williams. He's on Instagram. Go check him out. And as well as looking beautiful, it serves a purpose. We can no longer fit this massive all-terrain tyre in the stock carrier under the van. So we had to fit this, but I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. So one of the most exciting parts about this project for me was installing the front runner roof rack. This thing is amazingly well made and allows you to add so many different accessories. So the other side of the van, we actually have an axe mounted on the side because we love a good campfire. We also have a shovel if we need to get ourselves out of any situations or you need to go to the toilet in the woods. We've got a 335 watt solar panel. It's a beast. That is also on the roof rack. And we have a storage container. We have our motorhome Wi-Fi 4G booster, which is amazing. That gives us internet pretty much anywhere we go. And we also have a jerry can holder. This thing's really important for when we need that extra fuel capacity.
We're so happy with how our van turned out and can't believe how comfortable it is to live in. It has everything we need to be able to work from the road, and the standing room is ideal when the weather isn't great. Our Webasto diesel here has kept us warm in the Arctic, and the insulation worked amazingly at keeping the heat out in the summer. If you're thinking of converting a van, then do it. Building to your own specification is the best decision.
Drops of water trickle down my glass as they shimmer in the sun, as they glimmer in the sun.
I hope you guys enjoyed that absolutely mammoth van build series video.
And if you want to see the full van tour, the link is in the description.
Make sure you subscribe because soon we are shipping our van all the way to Canada and travelling North America in this van. So we're very excited and we don't want you guys to miss it.